All right, welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast. Today is a Monday. It is Monday the 22nd. Time is flying by. Things are a little bit weird in our country right now, but hopefully this podcast is a way to distract you guys for a little while and talk fishing. Today we have on a pretty cool guest, Mr. Jacob Foutz, who is a college bass fishing national champion, also a college bass bracket champion, which is pretty awesome. He got his debut into the Bassmaster Classic through winning that bracket. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that today. But before we get into today's podcast, I have two things I want to talk about. One being I have a giveaway that is running now. So for anybody listening, head over to the Serious Angler Instagram page. There are going to be 3 different winners. So I'm running a giveaway that starts from now until the 100th episode. On the 100th episode, I will announce who won on that episode as well as on my Instagram page that day. But on the 100th episode, I will announce 3 different winners. There are 3 different prize packs, 3 different companies that have helped me to throw this giveaway for you guys. So if you guys want to go win some free gear, go over my Instagram page. You'll see the details. But winner number 1 is a tungsten jig prize package from Queen Tackle. You can win yourself some free jigs. Queen Tackle is amazing to throw in some jigs, some free tungsten jigs, 3 different kinds, swim jigs, flipping jigs, and football jigs that you guys can win. All you got to do is follow the details in the Instagram page, which you also see if you head over there. The second winner is going to win a Douglas Performance Long Sleeve T-shirt. Not this one exactly if you're watching this podcast, but I'm rocking a Douglas long sleeve right now. But they have come out with some wicked cool new apparel that they're starting to get out to the public, which I'm pretty excited about. But they're going to offer up a free T-shirt, free long sleeve performance T-shirt. And then winner number 3, Angler Labs. Angler, you guys have heard me talk about almost on every single podcast, has decided to throw in a prize pack for you guys where it's going to be a free year of, it's going to be an Angler Bullseye, Angler hat, an Angler T-shirt, and a full year of premium. I believe that's there's one more thing involved in that as well, but let me check here. Yep, so it's not a T-shirt, an Angler hoodie, an Angler hat, a Bullseye, and 1 year of premium. That's pretty awesome. 3 different winners, 3 different prize packs that you guys can go win. All you have to do is go to my Instagram page, follow my Instagram page, Serious Angler, and follow these amazing companies, and you can enter to win these amazing products, some goodie bags. So head over to the page, follow Douglas, Queen, Angler, myself, and then if you can tag a friend, that'd be pretty cool. And then if you guys want 5 extra entries, you can head over to my YouTube channel if you're not there already. Subscribe, and that's 5 extra entries, which adds a lot of more chances for you guys to win these pretty cool stuff. So without further ado, enough talk about the giveaway. I'll remind you guys each podcast moving forward until the 100th episode when I announce the winner. But I'm pretty excited. Thank you to Queen, Douglas, and Angler for your help on this giveaway for episode number 100 that's coming up. It's weird to say episode 100. Oh my gosh. Well, before I keep rambling, without further ado, Mr. Jacob Foutz. All right, we are recording. Mr. Jacob Foutz, what's going on, my man?
What's going on? Hey, but thanks for having me on.
Of course, dude. I know we've tried this in the past, and unfortunately things popped up, and we weren't able to hop on here. So, but I'm glad, and thank you for taking the time to hop on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Yeah, and we were talking a little bit offline here, and I had on, Josh Bensimo, who was a college champion, but now we got Mr. Jacob Foutz on here as well as a college champion, and not only a college, the champion of the championship, but the bracket champion, which is pretty sweet. Not only did you have to beat everybody else, you had to beat everybody else again. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was exciting. It's probably my most fond memory. Something I wish I could go through and do all over again, but that's fishing.
I hear you, man.
It's fun.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been on multiple different shows and talking about your whole experience and everything. So with that being said, I'm just going to ask you, What's it been like since you competed in you qualified for the classic? And I didn't do my homework on that, but did you compete in that classic then?
I did. 2018 Bassmaster Classic on Lake Hartwell that Jordan Lee won. I think I didn't do very well. I think I finished up 39th, which which to me it doesn't sound that great, but for some that's just having the
Yeah,
opportunity to think is something else. But for me, I'm a big time competitor, and I always like to do as well as possible. And to me that's a little disappointing, but I'm certainly grateful for the opportunity, and I learned so much from that experience, and it was awesome.
I bet, dude. But just to say you're a classic qualifier in itself at the age you are is what people dream of, man. So I'm sure you definitely don't take that for granted. But it's definitely
No,
an awesome opportunity. Yeah.
it's still surreal to me. I still got to pinch myself to ask myself, did I really do that? Uh, I I think if I am correct, I'm the third youngest to ever qualify for the classic. So
That's awesome,
I
dude.
mean, it's just it's still surreal. Two almost 3 years later.
Who's the youngest? Do you know by chance who the youngest is?
I'd have to get on. I have to get on and look. Uh, I can't recall off the top of my head.
We're gonna have to look at that up offline here because that's gonna bug me now for the rest of the episode. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out offline. But yeah, dude. Before we get too crazy into the podcast and get too deep in here, for everybody listening or watching, talk a little bit about yourself. Tell them a little bit about you, and then what's that first story of getting into fishing? Who brought you to experience that first time?
Oh man, I grew up in Northeast Ohio, uh, Canton, New Philadelphia, Dover, Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's how I get that's how I get everyone to at least know the general area where I'm from, because I'm from a pretty small town, so no one knows where that's at. But they know where the Pro Football Hall of Fame at is for the most
Yeah.
part. Uh, yeah, grew up on the family farm. We had roughly probably 100 acres, and I was fortunate enough to have a 12-acre pond in my backyard, actually absolutely plumb full of bass, and we had a bass boat in it, so I was able to go down there and fish whenever I wanted to.
Dang.
Uh, but I mean, I've been fishing since I can remember, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. Uh, my dad and grandpa have always been big into it. So that's really how I got my start. Uh, I think I fished my first tournament when I was 6. I want to say I was 6.
Wow.
Uh, I can faintly remember that. So I mean, I've been fishing since I could I could crawl.
Yeah, I hear you on the relating certain objects to where you live. Like no one knows where I'm from until when I talk to other anglers and I say Rochester, New York, they're like, yeah, doesn't ring a bell. And I say Cayuga Lake, and they're like, oh, okay. Then they'll understand a little bit. But so if you're a northeastern Ohio guy, so you probably love Lake Erie then.
I absolutely love Lake Erie. It's probably my favorite fishery on the planet. I take a trip up there, every May now, because my family we now reside in Chattanooga, Tennessee, here on Lake Chickamauga. So I get to go up there every May and visit with family and spend a couple of days out on Erie. And I mean, I tell you what, it's not much fishing. It's pretty much just catching.
It's chock full of bass, man, and it's amazing. I fished it out of Buffalo, and it gets stupid, like stupid fun with the bass, like to the
It's
point where it's either those fish are just so dumb or they're just that aggressive. But it's just no matter where you go, I think the numbers and the size are just there. It's just no matter where you
it's
are in Lake Erie, I think it's just
it's unreal. I'm fairly certain most of the smallmouth you catch up there have probably never seen a bait in their life, so they're probably just that dumb. Because I think for the most part, guys really don't bass fish a lot for the most part. I know every year I go up there, there's more and more guys bass fishing, but I mean, when I
Walleye.
was first going up
Yeah.
there, it was rare to see a bass, but you would see guys out walleye fishing and perch fishing.
Yeah, you show up to the ramp a lot, and you don't really see many skeeters or rangers or anything. You see luns and trackers, and there's guys going out, threes and fours, rods all over the boat looking for perch and walleye, and I think that's really about all people go for now over there. I think there's some Lakers, but I think that's more of an Ontario thing than it is Erie. But well, that's pretty cool. You started from Erie, grew up around Erie in a pretty sweet home pond, it sounds like, and now you get to go on one of the best bass fisheries in the country, Lake Chickamauga. That's got to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I tell you what, I've been fortunate to live around some pretty amazing fisheries, and to be able to live on one of the hottest lakes in the country right now, and it's I mean I just been really fortunate.
Yeah, 100%. And now, is that something your family has done on purpose because fishing is that big in your family, or was it just by chance?
Well, it played a role for sure. The decision to move down here, uh, but where I'm from, there wasn't a whole lot of opportunities and opportunities in general. So moving down here it just opened up a lot more doors for everyone, and I'm so grateful we did it because it opened up so many doors for me. I probably would have never had the chance to fish in the classic. I never had a chance to go to college on a fishing scholarship or anything like that. So it was definitely a blessing.
That's awesome, man. So what are you doing now? What's going on in the life of Jacob Foutz?
Right now I'm guiding on Chickamauga, playing a little golf here and there, and working part time in between all that.
That's awesome, dude. So is the guide pretty much, is that the plan for you, or is it you trying to
Yeah,
get back into
yeah.
tournament fishing? What's
No,
the deal?
I started guiding just to be able to keep myself on the water. I figured as good a lake as Chickamauga is, and there's really not a whole lot of guides. I figured with my platform and what I've accomplished, I figured it'd be a good business endeavor, so to say.
Yeah,
So I started doing that. But I definitely want to fish professionally for a living. I'm back fishing the Bassmaster Opens this year, just the Eastern Division this year. Gonna jump back in and fish both divisions next year, hopefully.
nice, nice, man. So how's the guiding been for you? You been staying busy? Hopefully things have been kind of
Yeah,
turning around with this whole
yeah.
COVID
I
thing.
actually, I actually just got my captain's license within the last month and a half, so I'm just getting my feet wet. But business has been fairly decent to start. Like I said, I'm still trying to get the word out about everything, and hopefully business will pick up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, once you start it up, right, sky's the limit. You can only go up from there, right? So
That's right.
that's awesome, dude. Well, I hope it picks up for you. I mean, it's you definitely have the resume to appeal to people looking to catch some fish. I can tell you that much. So that's pretty sweet. Then, are you primarily fishing chick then, or are you making your way down to Pickwick or Whaleson or anything like that?
It's it's primarily Chickamauga. People want to come to Chickamauga, but I got on Nickajack, which is just below Chickamauga, and Watts Bar, and we got another small lake here, probably 20 minutes from the house, that's full of blueback herring and spotted bass, and I offer trips there too. So it
That's awesome.
it's whatever they want.
I think Chickamauga literally is on the top of my list for lakes that I want to bass fish, and I had the opportunity to briefly. Well, actually, I had a few hours to go and fish it, but so basically, I went down to the Bassmaster Classic. Was working for Douglas Rods, and
Hmm.
basically, what happened was I brought some rods with me to fish, and I was taking the company van. I drove down like hundreds of our rods that were going to the showcase. So I drove the van from New York down to Alabama. And when I was driving on my way back up, I decided I'm going to make a stop at Chickamauga because that's the one place I really want to fish at. So I stopped in, what is the, it's a park. I'm trying to remember. It starts with a C. It's not coming to me right now. Um,
Chester Frost.
Yes, that's the one. So I stopped there just to take a couple of casts around the park, just to say, I fished it. And dude, it wasn't my fifth cast that this boat pulls into the park. So I'm fishing towards the point leading out to the main river, and this boat
Mm-hmm.
pulls in and starts turning slowly and starts coming towards me. And I'm like, this guy's got to stop it at some point, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm casting towards his direction just to maybe he didn't see me. And
Mm-hmm.
dude, he comes up with like 15 yards away on shore and starts casting towards the shoreline at me. Then this just doesn't say a word. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't the greatest experience for my first time at Chickamauga. So
Well, well,
I'm just gonna
well,
venture up north, and I went to Watts Bar and caught like 15 drum on a jerk bait and made no sense, so I kept heading north. It's like it's just not my time.
well, unfortunately, that's a fairly common occurrence on this pond, but it is what it is. It
Good
it
grief.
gets worse. It gets worse and worse every year, but that's just the way it is anymore these days. I can't do that to anyone. You know, I show respect on the water. I don't like fishing around anyone. It's a distraction to me, and it's I don't think there's anywhere in the water for it. So I try to stay away from it. But unfortunately, it is a common occurrence here.
Yeah, dude, I 100% in agreement with you, and especially like if you have a boat and you're pulling in on like a kayak or somebody fishing from the bank, that's just I don't know what's going on there. But like I mean, like you said, it's not my cup of tea. I can't pull in on anybody. I like having my section of water, my pattern, my area to myself. If I don't, then I have like a level of stress that gets added on top of me because I know people are around. Like I love to just be there by myself, get in the zone, do my thing, right? So I totally get that. I don't understand the whole science behind pulling in on somebody in a spot, but yeah, I'll know it is what it is. But
Yeah, and unfortunately, this time of year, it's really bad. It's because all the fish are grouped up offshore on the ledges, and guys like they just don't care. They'll come idle circle around you, and it's just like, dude, if you want to fish here that bad, I mean, by all means,
just gonna pull up.
I mean, if you want to get on the bent rod pattern that bad, buddy, I mean, just pull up. I mean, I don't care.
Anchor your boat next to mine. Let's go. Let's go, Jason Lambert and Randy Haynes on this thing.
Like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna get in an argument over a school of fish when there's hundred other little schools of fish on the lake. I'm like, if you want them that bad, by all means, buddy, they're yours.
Yeah, I hear you, man, 100%. So you're getting into the Eastern Opens then. So with that being said, with that schedule coming up, I mean, I believe they're all planned to still be run, right? There's not anything postponed yet.
Yeah, as of right now, we were supposed to have one in May that was pushed back until the end of October, I believe. On Cherokee, it was supposed to be in May, but it got pushed back to October. But as of right now, we're supposed to fish the full schedule of what's left. We already fished one on the Kissimmee chain in January. Yeah, I went ahead and bombed that one, got that one out of the way. But yeah, so as of right now, we're scheduled to fish everything. If that happens, well, it's to be seen. But yeah, as of right now, we're still fishing everything.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to, location wise, coming up for the rest of the season?
See, our next one's on Oneida, so I'm probably most excited for that one. I love fishing up there, Champlain, Oneida. I love
Coming
fishing
up
up
to
there.
my neck of the woods there, eh? All right.
All right.
You'll have to let me know when you're on your way up, man. I'm probably 50 minutes from Oneida.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I'm spoiled enough where I live in the heart of all the Finger Lakes here, so I have all the different Finger Lakes and the lakes that are kind of attributed to it, and then I have Ontario 20 minutes north and Erie an hour to my west. So then I have Oneida to the east, and then Champlain's I guess the bottom of Ticonderoga is 3.5 hours to my northeast. So it's got everything within a day's reach.
I'll say you got it made because I tell you what, I love Ticonderoga.
It's a fun place if you can get
That's about as
past the
much fun
tooth.
as you can have.
Yeah, yeah. I went up there the other week, and it was just a smash fest. And it's as long as I could get through and be patient enough to get through all the dang pike and pickerel, then I'd have a great time.
Tell you what, I've got probably $150 worth of jackhammer chatterbaits in the pike's mouth up there.
I learned that real quick up there to not throw. I like for me, and I was kind of ashamed to say it. And like that was my first time ever on Champlain, and so I didn't put much effort into researching it when it came to like actual the fishing. Obviously, I put like time in the maps and whatnot and researching that. But when it came to the actual fishing portion, I figured it'd come easy with knowing and watching tournaments of Ticonderoga. But they never put the emphasis on the amount of freaking pike that are in that lake. I never knew that part, so I showed up and had a very rude awakening, losing probably $50 in 3 casts. So I was like, "This is great."
It's unreal, and it's like there's nothing you can even do because the pike are right in there with the bass. So it's like, well,
yeah, you just better have that trigger finger ready because you can't let them eat that thing. You can't give them a second, and it's gone.
that's right. I was up there the last time I was up there. It was 2018 for the Eastern Open on Eastern Open. It was I think it was end of July, 1st of August, and I found a bunch of fish on Ticonderoga on a frog, and it was unreal. I caught as many pike as I did bass on a frog in 2 days. It was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, at that time of year, all you need is a frog. That's all you need. You don't need anything else. You can have a blast all day just throwing topwater, and it's already on fire right now. It's a special place. I'm definitely heading back up there. I believe. I think I'm trying to remember when the elites are going back up. I think that's the end of July, is I think when they're at Champlain. So I think that's when I'm headed up with one of my buddies, and it's going to be a fun time. Try to see how they're doing out there and have a blast. I just love how long the place is, so you can always kind of get away from other people.
Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
It's an unreal fishery. It's up there. It's in my top 3 of favorite places to fish. That's for sure.
So what is your top 3 then?
I would say, oh man, Erie's at the top probably without a doubt.
Okay.
I'd put Champlain at 2 and probably Chickamauga on at number 3.
I was gonna say, if you're guiding out there, you better hope you enjoy it.
I enjoy it. It does get frustrating from time to time. I'm not gonna lie, because they aren't always easy to catch, but there's so many big ones in this place. It's hard not to like it, because I mean, you can go out there and only catch 5 bites, but only get 5 bites, but they'll weigh 30 pounds. That's just how this place is.
Yeah, for sure. What was that a big adjustment for you then, moving down from Ohio down to this river system and having to learn that at a younger age?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, see, I was 15, I believe. I was 15 when we moved down here, and so fishing down here is completely different than fishing up there. I mean, fishing on the Great Lakes, it's nothing like a Tennessee River, and even the small lakes I had around my house in Ohio growing up, the fishing wasn't good. I mean, you caught 8 pounds, buddy, you were doing something. So to go from hoping to catch 5 to go 8 pounds to have a true shot at catching one that goes 8 pounds is, I mean, it was it's a complete 180 from what I was used to, and it definitely took me 2 or 3 years to adjust to everything, and I had to teach myself how to let fish, because I had no idea what I was doing out there, and for the first 2 or 3 years it was really frustrating for me, because I wasn't catching them like I like to and how I wanted to, and it was frustrating to me because I couldn't compete in any local tournaments or anything, just because of how heavy the weights were.
Yeah, well, it had to be an amazing feeling though, that first time when you figured them out, you found them first of all out offshore, you found them on that ledge, and then that first bite and that first boat hitting the deck probably felt amazing.
Yeah, when I found that first school of fish, it was kind of like a light bulb went off, and then I was kind of like, oh, and then from there it just started getting easier and easier. Now it's not really all that difficult anymore.
Yeah, and now it's
But I
just
mean, even when I first started, I mean, technology wasn't that great. I mean, you had the side imaging and down imaging, but that stuff was all fairly new. I mean, it
what it
wasn't
is
what
now.
it is
Yeah,
today. I mean, you actually kind of had to spend some time and dial in your units to get them to look good. Now you can just run factory settings out of the box, and I mean, you can go out there and find them. It's not difficult. The mapping has definitely changed the game. It's made everything way easier. You still gotta catch them, but finding them's not the hard part anymore.
yeah, no, 100%, and it's definitely coming from Erie. I think definitely electronics is definitely kind of just runs in your blood now because like Erie, you're not gonna find an offshore bite by just blindly casting a football jig and feeling around. You need to have those graphs tuned in, which is it's definitely an advantage for sure. But I still laugh at the guys who say it's cheating with all the graphs because like you said, you still have to catch them. You still gotta trick them. But it definitely it's the difference between a 10 fish day versus a 40 fish day.
I mean, you could have all the graphs in the world, but if you can't catch them, that don't mean anything.
Exactly. Just because you can find fish doesn't mean you put them in the boat. So for sure.
I mean,
So
I can understand the guy that can't afford nice equipment
yeah,
and in that term. I can understand that, but I mean, just because guys have them and are fortunate enough to be able to afford something like that doesn't mean that you're instantly beat.
yeah,
That's not how it works, unfortunately.
yeah. I personally I run an HDS 9 with Total Scan, and the only reason I was able to afford that is because I was on Bass Boat Central, and a guy just happened to be at the perfect time deciding to sell all of his stuff and buy all brand new, and just had barely used that graph, so I got it less than half off, which was ideal because there was no way I was buying that thing new. It went from me looking at a Helix 5 to me looking at buying an HGS 9, which was perfect. Especially being
I
a
mean,
kid broke out of college. That was a big help.
yeah, for me, fortunately, having a dad and grandpa that fish as much as they did, I've had a side imaging unit since they were first released. So I mean, I've been using this stuff since it very first came out. So I have been fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah. Well, it's cool too because our generation is very in tune with technology, right? And something cool to kind of highlight that is Cody Huff, right? And how he there's an article with him and being friends with Rick Clunn and how he'd go out with Rick Clunn and teach Rick Clunn different things about his graphs to help Rick Clunn obviously out on the water. Showing him. Rick Clunn was joking, saying how it's cool to be friends with Cody, being this new name in the industry because Cody can show him how to use technology. So something like that, just it's kind of cool to see the shift.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Cody's Cody's really good. I'm fortunate enough to have spent a little time around him and have talked to him a good bit, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with for many years, and it's cool to see guys my age helping one of the
Legends.
you say the greatest of all time,
Yeah.
and teaching him. It's might be hard for someone else to see, but that's a big boost of confidence for guys like us that we can go out there and compete with the legends of the sport.
Yeah, no, 100%, and it reinforces, the argument that fishing is such a difficult sport, but such an amazing sport, and the fact that you're never gonna know everything. You're never gonna be the best at one thing. There's always gonna be room for improvement because not only is the fish and how they behave in these lakes are ever changing, so is the technology and the equipment that we use and how it can help us more effectively catch fish. So it's never going to stay constant. It's always going to change and improve. It's just so what's so awesome because we're always learning. I think that's what drives a lot of anglers, especially like yourself, that
Yeah,
learning and competitive aspect.
yeah, like you said, I mean the sport's always evolving. It's so cool to be involved in a sport where you're never gonna stop learning. It's you're always gonna have to keep getting better and better and better because as technology evolves, I mean as technology evolves and fishing pressure increases, as more people get get involved in fishing and everything. I mean, you have no choice but to get better. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a cool time to be in the sport. That's for sure.
100%, man. So has fishing always been, your main sport then, or did you do anything else throughout, your childhood and into your teens?
Uh, for the most part, fishing's been it for me. I played baseball for a good portion of my life. I was a fairly decent baseball player, but I quit playing in high school to pursue to pursue fishing because this is what I've always wanted to do.
That's awesome, man. Did you have high school fishing then?
We did,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I didn't really do a whole lot of high school fishing because it was just kind of getting started as I was getting ready to leave, and we didn't have many kids on our team to begin with, and we only fished a handful of big tournaments every year, and even for me, I fished instead of fishing some high school tournaments. I fished BFLs as a co-angler, just trying to get in the back of the boat behind people that were better than me and learn. I thought that was just as good a learning experience for me as high school fishing was.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who was. I believe it was my buddy Zach Hall that was on the podcast because he's trying to become a BFL co-angler, and well, this year he's planning on. He's never done it. He's trying to do his first one. Um, but the one thing that's popped in my mind that I'm curious about, and I'm curious if you have any, is do you have any like horror stories of being a co-angler? Because that's the one thing that's deterring me from being a co-angler is getting a boater that is I don't want to say selfish, but in the fact that I've heard that there's different boaters that will kind of shut out the back of the boat so they have no opportunity. So that's the one thing that deters me. But have you ever found that to be the case, or has it always been a positive experience?
Personally, for me, no. I've every guy I've ever been co-angler with has been incredibly generous to me and has never backboated me or anything like that. I've heard the stories just like you, and that was always a fear of mine. But I've never had that happen to me. For the most part, I think guys want to see you catch them as much as they want to catch them. I know that's the case when I'm fishing the opens, and I have a conger. I mean, they paid money to get in just like I did, and I don't want to screw them out of the opportunity to do well.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we have one up here on what I consider now is my home lake is Cayuga. So I'm thinking about hopping in it, but that's the one thing that's been on my mind that's keeping me from not joining. But I don't even know if they're doing co-anglers now with the whole COVID thing. Something I'm gonna have to look into offline here. But do
I'm
you know?
I'm fairly certain they are. But yeah, if I was you, I'd definitely do it. For me, that was a big learning experience, and I was fortunate enough to win a couple times, to win a couple BFLs out of the back of the boat. So it was all good experience for me.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. Obviously, you won the national championship. You won the bracket. Um, is there any big tournament experience, whether you won or maybe it's a certain scenario in it that still resonates with you besides those two big wins?
Uh, not really. I think if I was to look back at all my big wins, I haven't had a whole bunch. I'm still fairly young, but I mean, it's the one thing I've noticed is that you got to fish as hard as you can, and when it's your time, it's your time. There's nothing you can do to stop it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and if not, it's not that, but that doesn't mean you can't have a good tournament or anything like that. So I mean it's fishing. Fishing is much mental as it is actual fishing ability. Is
Yeah.
something I've really learned the last couple of years is just being able to stay focused and tell yourself you can do this. You know, I can get 5 bites. I mean, it's just fishing. I mean, because me, the way I look at it is, I'm not fishing against the other guys. It's me against the fish, and if I can beat the fish for a day, then I'd probably beat half the field.
Yeah. I like that. I
And
like the
it's
way you think about that. It probably that mindset takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders when you're thinking about what other guys are doing. And if you can delete that from your mind, you probably have a less stressful day, and that probably helps you fish a little bit better.
it's you. I mean, you have absolutely no control on what anyone else is doing. The only thing you can control is what you're doing. So if you, I mean, you can't even worry about what you can't control. I mean, there's so many things in fishing that you can't control. And if you just forget about that, I mean, there goes half your day. You can only control what you can control. I mean, you can control how you present your bait, what your mindset is, and how hard you fish. That's about it. You can't control if a fish comes off. You can't control if it's cold, if it's rainy, if it's windy, if the weather's nasty, and you don't. I mean, and you're miserable. You can't control that. You got to put that in the back of your head and just fish.
Yeah, 100%, man. Now, on the flip side of that, on more of a leisure aspect to it, do you have any like some awesome, funny, whatever stories that may have been that's out, still in the tournament scene, but maybe it's like a road trip or it was a practice story or maybe something with your team or something like that in your college days.
Oh boy. Um, I've got a bunch. Let's see. Let me think. Let me find. Let me think of a good.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, we haven't had anything just super crazy. We've just had some funny stuff happens. I mean, one one that's always stuck out to me, like one of the first times we traveled, because I was on scholarship to fish, and so we had a coach, and so he would travel with us. We would kind of convoy, and he'd be at the front. We would just follow him. So I think we're going to Kentucky. I think we were going to Kentucky Lake or something, and uh, we were on the interstate, and we're rolling 6 or 7 boats all on the line. And next thing, uh, coach whips it off the interstate, right off the side of the road, and he's we're stopped on the side of the interstate. So, and he gets out and walks over into the bushes. I mean, just takes the lead. I mean, so instead of just stopping at a rest stop, he just pulled it over on the side of the highway and took a leak on the side of the interstate.
And you gotta go. You gotta go.
I guess so. I was like, oh my goodness.
That's funny, man. So, dude, looking forward, then obviously, you're trying to get into the opens, and you're gonna continue guiding. So obviously, your goal is to fish professionally. What's your ultimate goal? Like, what's the driving force for you to where you get to the point where you're like, I've made it.
Uh, I mean, for me, it's winning the classic. I mean, that's all I can think about. That's why I fish.
Hmm.
I fish to try to get into the classic. I mean, because that's all I've ever known. I mean, that's been the pinnacle of the sport since I've been following it, and to have a taste of it. I mean, for me, I'll do anything to make it back there. Yeah, I mean, of course, I want to fish the Elite Series or the FLW Tour, the Major League Fishing Pro Tour. Obviously, I want to do that for a living, but for me, it's the classic.
I can totally be in agreement with you there. I feel like the classic is the epiphany. It's the holy grail of fishing. So it's being able to be there at down in Alabama was my first classic ever, and that was extremely eye opening to see how intense it actually really is. Because for me, I've only ever watched it whether it's live or it was on TV growing up, that sort of deal. Just but being there in person, you kind of get this whole different feeling. But I can only even imagine being about the same age as you and being in the classic, competing in the classic, having your name on Bass Track. That had to be pretty freaking awesome. So
Yeah, I mean, it's still surreal. See, I attended my first classic in it was 2014 on Gunnersville when Randy Howe won, and I think I was there the second day. We drove down and hung out at the expo and went and watched the weigh-in. And I was in high school at the time, and that second day weigh-in, they had a what they call the high school Bassmaster Classic, where they take like 10 or 12 teams from across the country. You get to fish and you get to come and weigh your fish on the classic stage. And I told my dad, I said, I'm going to do that before I'm done with high school. And fortunately for me, I got the opportunity to do that in 2016 when the classic was on Grand Lake. So I got to go out to Oklahoma and fish in that high school classic deal and get to walk across the stage in 2016. I was only, I think I was 17 at the time. And, I said to my dad again, I said, next time I come across the stage, I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be fishing in it. And for it to come full circle and a year and a half later, I qualify and I get to walk across that stage. I mean, for me, I almost still get a little bit emotional because it I mean that was a lifelong dream, and to be able to accomplish it at 19 years old, I mean, it was surreal, and it just fanned the flame even more for me.
yeah,
I want to do anything to get back there and to have another crack at it.
yeah. So at first it started as a dream for you, and now it's unfinished business. That's what it is.
It's I mean I want to get back, and it's ever since fishing that it's been really frustrating for me because I didn't have the opportunity to fish the opens last year, and I, I ended up leaving leaving college early to get back in the opens to try to give myself the best opportunity to become an even better angler and to give myself an opportunity to go back to the classic.
Yeah. Well, I wish you the best, man. Like I said, you're gonna have to let me know when you head up this way, and we'll try to connect somehow so you can maybe get out in the water. I can show you some of the different Finger Lakes if you get some downtime while you're up here. But
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
I'm definitely going to come up and spend a little time. So I'll have to get a hold of you.
Yeah, 100%, man, for sure. So you're gonna get. So the plan is to continue guiding, go after the opens. Once you get that professional level, because I'm confident you will. You got the talents for it. You got the heart for it. It's obvious. Are you gonna continue guiding then, or is that just gonna kind of the means to stay on the water?
No, I'm going to try to continue guiding. Like I don't know how much time I'll have if and when I do make it onto the pro circuit in some fashion. Uh, I have my captain's license, so I'll always be able to guide. I just right now I just don't know. Right now I'm in the plan is to guide and fish the opens for as long as I have to. Hopefully it's not past this year, but that's to be determined.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, awesome, dude. So we're gonna transition into the last segment I have here before we hop off. There's just two questions I'd like to end with, but before we do, where can people follow along with you and your adventures and keep up with what you're doing?
So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Jacob Foutz Fishing. So you can go on there and give me a follow and follow along. I've got a website as well, Jacob Foutz Fishing. That's where I book. That's where you can book any guide trip or learn a little bit about me. If you want to get in contact with me, you can go through my website. You can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. I'm always happy to talk about fishing and help people out if I can.
Awesome, dude. Well, everything will be linked down below, so they can head right to the description and get there. real quick so they don't have to search it, so they can book those trips and get on some big old Chickamauga bass with the help of Mr. Jacob Foutz.
Right, come on down there. They're
I can't.
biting. So
Oh, there you go. That's even more incentive for people to get down there. Well, it's awesome, dude. So I got these two questions I like to ask everybody before we end the podcast here. And the first question for you is, if you could invite any three people to dinner so that you could pick their brain, who would you invite and why? They could be past or present, and they do not have to be fishing.
all right. Let me think about it for a second.
Of course, take your time.
See, my first choice would be. I happen to notice you have an I love hockey poster or a I love hockey sign right there
Yeah,
behind your left shoulder.
yeah.
Uh, I would invite Sidney Crosby. I'm a huge hockey fan myself. Big
I
fan
am
of the
a
Pittsburgh Penguins.
yes, my dude. I am a Penguins and a
So
huge
I
Crosby fan.
so I would definitely invite him. He's been one of my idols since I was just just itty bitty. Ever since I can remember. Second would have to be. This might be an unpopular choice, but uh, I would say probably Tiger Woods.
Okay.
I love I love I love golfing. I love it almost as much as I like fishing. Come to find out, I just got into it last year, but I enjoy it a lot.
I hear you.
Uh, it's kind of a bad habit to pick up alongside fishing. They're two pretty expensive
Yeah, I
sports.
was gonna say. You better have those guide trips booked, man.
Uh, and see that so Sidney Crosby, Tiger Woods, and uh, I would have to say I, I would say Rick Fun probably.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough to meet him and talk to him on several occasions. It was kind of I was fortunate enough to meet him a few years ago, and he actually introduced himself to me, and he knew who I was, and
Wow.
that's been one of the coolest experiences for me. It was pretty cool, but just to just to pick his brain on fishing and everything, because he's I think he's next level as far as thinking and knowing about a bass and how they behave. I think that's he probably knows more than anyone else. So I would
You
say
want to talk
Sidney
about wisdom?
Crosby,
Yeah.
yeah, Sidney Crosby, Tiger Woods, and probably Rick Vaughn.
Talk about a winner's circle right there.
That's I think that's probably one of the best winner circle I can think of.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, dude. And you've easily made this my favorite podcast ever with saying Sidney Crosby off the bat. That's you've won me over. So, but I think he would be super
Yeah,
interesting just for the plain fact that he doesn't have any social media. So you don't get a
right.
look into his thoughts, personal life, whatever, just to kind of get how, get some, how do you operate? How do you think? Like we don't see that besides him on the rink. That's about it. So it'd be interesting.
Just it'd be cool to pick his brain on it. To not be able to have any social media in today's age, he has to be so incredibly focused on hockey and being the best player he can be. It'd be cool to pick his brain and see how he's able to do that.
Well, not only that too, but like you have to be so focused and in tune with living in the now and not worrying about what your friends doing, not what your friends doing on his vacation or whatever. You're not following with that. You're focused on what you're doing now and what's going on around you, which I think is awesome. And been something I've been thinking about with our current day situations that we're going through in our nation, of deleting some of my social medias just so I can one get away from all that, because I feel like I turn on the news all the time and I just get depressed right off the bat. Like it's just I think a social media hiatus is good for a lot of people.
No, it,
I'm
it,
sure he's
it,
living
it
the dream
is
with that right now.
it is it would be for sure. I'm the same way. I just got rid of my Twitter account because I got tired of getting on there and seeing everyone arguing, and there was anything good on there ever. So I just got rid of it. And I try to limit my time as much as I can on Facebook and Instagram and TV, and just I try to spend as much time outside. I'm either fishing, working, or golfing or something.
Yeah, 100%, man. Well, I'm trying to remember who it was I was talking to the other day, and we pretty much just said, if everybody could just fish, like if everybody owned a boat and could fish and knew how to back a boat down the ramp, most importantly, that everyone would be so happy. Everyone would be happy if everybody just knew how to fish. There was room for everyone to fish. We'd be content. Life would be great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot more to life than the, than your skin color or anything like that. We're all human, and you know, God created us equally in His image. So,
Yeah, 100%.
turn
Well,
off
dude,
the turn off the phone, turn off the TV, get outside, and enjoy your time on this earth while you got it.
exactly. Tomorrow is never a guarantee, for
That's
sure.
right.
Awesome, dude. I love that answer. So, last question for you, and we're gonna sign off with this: is just your favorite fishing memory?
Uh, Definitely would be the last day of the bracket. Uh, just the way, just the way everything played out. Like it, like I was saying earlier, when it's your time, it's your time. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And everything that happened that day, it just, it was unbelievable. I mean, I can't even explain it. It's still surreal. Some of the things that just, you know, just everything. It definitely the last day of the bracket, and then coming in and getting on stage, not knowing what my partner had, but knowing what I had, and when when they revealed it, you can go and watch the reaction. I cried like a little girl. Because for me that had been that was everything I worked for up until that point in my life. That was everything I had done was to get to was to hopefully have a shot at the classic, and to have it come together like that on the last day, it was unreal. That's still my favorite fishing memory. I don't know that it'll ever be topped, to be honest.
Yeah, and totally understandably why. So, that's awesome, man. I totally could not have guessed that was going to be your answer. So, that's awesome, man. And congratulations again. I know it's a few years back, obviously, but that's something you're going to remember forever, and rightfully so. So, but
Sure, I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, man. And I'm confident that it's not going to be the last time we see Jacob Foutz's name plastered over the billboard. I mean, I'm confident to see you're going to go places, man, and you got my full support.
I appreciate that. That's the goal. Hopefully, there's more coming.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I really do appreciate you taking time out of your day. We're almost going up on an hour now for the show, and I appreciate you taking time to talk to me and getting to know each other. So I really hope you can have some downtime when you head up this way. If we can get out on the water.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Heck yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.
All right, so hope you guys enjoyed that podcast there with Jacob. The dude is a stick, and not only is he just familiar with fishing his whole life, but he has just enveloped every facet of his life towards fishing. He has just geared every living breath, motivation, whatever have. He's taken every avenue of his life and geared it towards fishing and making that his career, his profession, his livelihood, and he's making great strides at it. So it's pretty awesome to see what he's doing. He comes from a great background, a great history. He has a great resume going already, and with the guiding and the motivation, dedication, passion, the passion that he has, he's going places. So I'm super excited to see him try to make it to the pro level. I know he'll get there. I'm pretty excited to see how he does when he does, and I'm excited to have him on again. We're going to talk a little bit once he comes up in New York. Hopefully, him and I are going to link up and do some fishing when he comes up here. And then we'll get him back on the podcast to talk about some open tournaments that he hopped in and get a little update. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Go down and follow him on social media. If you're in the area looking for a great guide trip, hit him up, Mr. Jacob Foutz. That was awesome. Please go check him out and follow his social media. And before we end today, I just want a quick reminder about the giveaway that we're running. Head over to my Instagram page for all the details. You can win some amazing stuff. Thank you again to Queen Tackle, Douglas Outdoors, and Angler. So we're going to end it right there, guys. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. If you're not already subscribed to the Egbert Outdoors YouTube channel, you can follow or find Serious Angler on every single podcast application there is and the Angler app. Thank you guys again for watching and listening. We'll see you guys next time.